Truther questions the next episode. If you haven't seen the introduction already, go ahead and do that. There are several points that pertain to this little exercise and are all explained in the introduction. If you haven't done that, go ahead and do it now. If you have, just remember, they still apply to these ones, and successive videos, and successive questions. Question number 37. Twoofer's claim the BBC reporting Building 7 20 minutes early proves that it was scripted. So why the fuck, if you're planning the biggest crime in history, do you tell the media about it ahead of time? Are we to honestly expect to believe that when planning the inside job, Cheney said, fuck, we almost forgot to remember to tell the media what we're planning? Those guys can keep a secret. Yeah. 38. Referring to the previous question, if there was some sinister plot to blow up Building 7, and it would obviously be a controlled demolition, why would you tell the BBC to report on it at all? If you were going to tell the BBC anything, you would tell the BBC to ignore it. If you, yeah, you sure as hell won't say, hey, BBC, be sure to report the building collapse 20 minutes early and draw as much attention as you possibly can to it. That's the best way to hide our obvious controlled demolition. So why tell the BBC to report the building's collapse early, ensuring the maximum attention being brought to the very thing you're trying to hide? Hmm? Number 39. If no fighters were scrambled, then how was Flight 93 shot down? If they were stood down, how'd they fucking shoot a plane down with stood down aircraft? Number 40. If Cheney really gave the stand down order, how was 93 not shot down? Number 41. If Flight 93 was shot down, how could it have been diverted to Cleveland? Conflicting and contradicting. Twoofers, as always. Number 42. Truthers claim there was no crash in Shanksville because there was no trace of a plane, but also tell us the widespread debris field from Flight 93 proves Flight 93 was obviously shot down. How can there be enough debris to prove that a plane was shot down if there was no trace of a plane? Furthermore to that, um, Part A is the coroner saying that he couldn't find anything resembling humans or blah 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 blah. Twoof is obvious, yeah, or go, oh, that's a fucking admission. There was no bodies, there was no this, there was no that, and he also said that the damage and the debris field and all that, there was nothing recognisably left of a plane. Well, yeah, that's not such a big deal. Just go and watch the entirety of fucking air crash investigation. And this comes from the NTSB, the French mob, the bloody Canadians, Australia, fucking England, fucking Germany, Italy, fucking comes from everywhere, right? Air crash investigators. You'd be surprised how many times they say the exact same thing. When we got to the debris field, that there was nothing there that you could recognisably describe as an aeroplane, or the debris looked nothing like an aeroplane. The 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 crash site, you couldn't recognise anything that you would that you would attest to being an aeroplane, or there were no bodies. There wasn't anything recognisable as a body. It's because in a plane crash as violent as that, there ain't that much left. There's, when they say remains, um, when something hits, like when a human hits something or comes to a sudden stop at 500 fucking miles an hour, you don't have arms, you don't have legs, you don't have bodies and shit attached to each other. You have fucking splats. You have purified human. You literally wash the fuckers out with a fucking fire hose. I've been to motor vehicle accidents where, at less speeds, closing speed of approximately about 100 kilometers an hour, there was one nasty one with a van went into the front of a semi trailer, and we washed the bloke out of the driver's seat with a fucking fire hose because he just went splat. Literally, he turned into a puddle of goo. So that's part A to that one. You'd be surprised how many people say exactly that. Well, there was no obvious aircraft there, or no obvious humans. Anyway, number 43. Many people escaped from the offices above the impact zone in Building 2 because they decided on their own to leave the building immediately after Building 1 was hit. So they were able to get below the impact zone before the second plane. Um, Consequently, well, if both planes hit near simultaneously, many more people would have been killed. So if the planes were expertly flown or remotely flown, then why not time the hits much more closer together, thereby trapping more people above the impact? Number 44. And yeah, this one is a really long one, so get comfy. As an add-on to the previous question, we are told the phone calls from the passengers were faked using real-time voice morphing technology. This allows actors to perfectly imitate passengers' voices so well that even loved ones don't know they were being fooled. Assuming this is possible, uh, why not have the experts who were remotely flying the hijacked aeroplanes to simply imitate the pilot's voice? You know, being expert pilots, the truthers claim they were, they easily would be able to fool air traffic control into thinking that it was just a normal flight. The fake pilots could claim a mechanical issue in their aircraft and request diversion to LaGuardia or Kennedy Airport. Not only would this allow for simultaneous hits on a tower and many more deaths, but would eliminate the need for the supposed NORAD stand down, since the flights would appear 100% normal to air traffic control up until the last few seconds. Plus, such a technique could also be used inside the aircraft cabin's PA system. Therefore, the to the passengers and flight attendants, the fake captain would simply advise the passengers of the plane deviation to New York City, and then everything being normal. This eliminates the need for fake passenger phone calls. So why not use voice morph technology to have the fake hijackers imitate real pilots and eliminate the need for the stand down and passenger phone calls at all? Huh? Number 45. If a spouse or a parent called you on the phone, do you honestly think you wouldn't notice if it were an actor, even if the actor sounded like a child, spouse, or parent? I think there's a little something in that for all of us, don't you? Stay tuned for the next exciting episode. Boobies.